Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for tonight's virtual webinar, Life as a Merrimack Student. My name is Olivia Calvin, and I'm a junior nursing student at Merrimack College from Rutland, Vermont, about 3 hours away. And besides being a lovely ambassador, I'm also part of student government, honor student council, and Relay for Life. We're grateful that you've joined with us tonight, but if you're interested in visiting Merrimack in person, we'd love to see you at our next open house events on October 20th, November 3rd, and December 7th. Now, let's get to why you're really tuning in tonight. We'll hear from a panel of current Merrimack students who will join me on camera in just a few minutes. So how does this work? No cameras or microphones for you all. You watch and we'll do the talking. If you have any questions for the student speakers, please use the Q&A feature on Zoom. The questions that we are answering tonight are already from you guys who have pre-registered for the event, and we have staff from admission and additional students monitoring the Q&A to answer all your questions. So here along with me are some of the current students, as I've mentioned, and we're all excited to answer your questions. Before we dive into your questions, though, I would let the other students introduce themselves. So I'm going to kick it over to Matt to start us off.
Hello, everybody. My name is Matthew Dacey, and I am a current senior here at Merrimack College. I am from North Andover, Massachusetts, so right down the street from the college. I am a resident student as of the last 2 years, so my junior and senior year I've been a resident, my first year as a commuter. And besides being part of our little ambassador program on campus, I am a resident advisor. I was an orientation leader this past summer. I'm on the conduct board and I have a few little odd jobs on campus as well.
Very, very busy. Now off to Alyssa.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alyssa. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm a civil engineering major with a computer science minor. I am a resident student. I have been my whole time here. I'm a senior as well. I forgot to mention that. And then aside from being one of our ambassadors, I am a member of our women's lacrosse team. I am the vice president of our American Society of Civil Engineers, secretary of that, vice president of Society of Women Engineers, and then I also am a part of Tau Beta Pi as well.
Hey everyone, my name is Anthony Beres. I am a sophomore studying business administration with a concentrating in accounting. I'm a commuter student. I've been these past 2 years, and my involvement aside from being an admissions ambassador is I was an orientation leader this year. I am part of our Black Student Association. I'm an active member of our Association of Latinos Moving Ahead, as well as part of different business clubs in the Girard School of Business.
Hey everyone, my name is Julius Brown Rudolph. I'm an international student, so I'm originally from Costa Rica, born and raised. I'm a freshman here at Merrimack. I'm majoring in exercise science. I'm commuting this year. Last year I was arrested on campus, and besides being part of this program, I'm part of the Division I men's volleyball team.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for sharing. Now let's get started with some questions that everyone's already submitted. So to kick us off, Matt, what is the best thing about living on campus?
Yeah, so as I said before, I started as a commuter for 2 years, but I kind of wanted to get both experiences to see kind of what it was like to live on campus. What really I love most about living on campus is the built-in family you kind of have around you. Right down the hall, if you forgot something at home, like, oh, I forgot my toothpaste, you can go right down the hall. You have a friend like, oh, I have an extra bottle. You have friends around you, community around you. Also, just a great way to kind of see what's going on. Again, you have people built in right across the hall, like, oh, I'm kind of bored. And they're like, oh, I have club meetings every Monday. So if you're free at this time, always feel free to like come with me. Have like kind of that community around you, people to go to if you need help or anything. Also people around you just to get involved, bring you out of your shell, things like that, which is why I love living on campus.
Awesome. I love that, Matt. Now, Anthony, what is it like to be a commuter?
To be a commuter, I've really enjoyed my time being a commuter. You really learn how to be able to time manage a lot. Personally, I live in Methuen, and that's only 15 minutes away from campus. Given there's traffic, of course, but it's been easier for me to commute. Commuting has been a really good experience for me to be able to learn how to time manage and get things done on time, as well as being more responsible with the way I manage my time. Um, I really enjoyed it because there's so many spaces on campus that I have available to be able to hang out with friends and do that different activities that maybe resident students have available, For example, I usually go to the Unity House to spend my time, or at the commuter lounge. We have a commuter lounge where all commuter students have access to. Meanwhile, our Sacramento Campus Center is open, and that's a really nice space where there's different programming that is held. You have a commuter ambassador that you're able to meet with, as well as reserve spaces for you if you wanted to do like study work with friends, have some group discussions, or just want to have like your kind of alone time in that reserve space. And overall, I've really enjoyed my time being a commuter. And if you're looking to be a commuter, I would recommend it. Merrimack is a very inclusive community for our commuter population.
Thank you, Anthony. And I'm gonna ask myself this question, but as an ideal Merrimack nursing student, so what are they looking for? What I love about our program in general is you have clinicals freshman year, spring semester, you already get that experience rather than a lot of other colleges who do it later. But what they're looking for is someone who's hardworking, passionate, motivated. Also, a big thing is like critical thinking, about situations inside the classroom, at clinical and hospitals. Also, time management, kind of how Anthony touched on, like being a commuter, same kind of thing with whatever situation you have. It's definitely a lot of work, but if you, like I said, have the passion and you are really passionate about becoming a nurse, I 100% recommend. I love it, and I'm so excited to continue the rest of this year. And now I have a question for Alyssa. So Alyssa, what is like general information on weekends? Like what's going on the weekends at Merrimack?
Yeah, so something that I love about Merrimack is I feel like Merrimack does a lot for us on the weekends. I've heard like some of my friends at like different colleges, they kind of are like suitcase schools. I actually never heard that term until I got to college. And basically just means that students tend to go home like every single weekend. And though I feel like we do have more of a New England population at our school, you definitely don't see that here. Most people will stay on campus every single weekend. And it's honestly a really good environment usually. One of my favorite things to do on the weekends is just go to different sporting events. So right now we're in football season, hockey's kicking off. So those are definitely my favorite things to do with all my friends. But something that I do love that Merrimack does is they'll actually send out to our Merrimack email addresses every single week, the weekender, they call it. And essentially all it is just what's going on that weekend. So I know like the past couple of weekends when I've been looking at it, they'll do a ton of different random pop-up events. So I think like there's yoga this weekend that they're hosting. They'll do a lot of, one of my favorites too is they'll do a lot of different like food sampling almost. Our dietitian we have on campus, I absolutely love her. And she'll host tons of events. So I think last week I'm pretty sure was like there's acai bowls for a while. So they do tons of like random little events. Some of my favorite stuff that they host that are bigger events for us on the weekends would definitely be like Mactoberfest and our block party, which essentially, in my eyes, are just two opportunities to be able to go and hang out with all my friends here at Merrimack. Families are invited for Mactoberfest, and you get a lot of free food, which personally is one of my favorite things. I think Merrimack does a fantastic job of feeding us, so I know I definitely love hitting up those events on the weekends.
Awesome, thank you, Alyssa. Our next question is how does applying for internships work at Merrimack? So Julius, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. I'm not really as I don't have as much information about that. So if one of you guys want to add on it, you guys can totally do it. But at the beginning of each semester, we have a career fair in which it's open for all students. You can go there. There's different stations where you go with different professors or professors where they like you just go, you show them your resume, you show interest in what you're trying to do, and from there on, it goes from there basically. I don't know if someone wants to add on a little bit on that.
Matt, would you like to add on to that?
I can jump in. I know my high school offered a lot, so I always say like use what resources you have now. So when you're transitioning, always go to your counselors and stuff like that because they might have extra little things specifically that they might not release to everybody. But I know when applying to Merrimack, I submitted my financial packet, my FAFSA, and everything like that, and I didn't have to do much extra, and they kind of gave me my package that way. So I say apply and then see what they give you first, because they're very great with working with you and stuff like that. But also you can reach out to your admissions counselor as well. Be like, hey, I'm looking for internship opportunities, and they can always reach out or outside scholarships as well. So just kind of using whatever resources you kind of have available to kind of bounce around, look for those scholarships. Again, a lot of people are here to help you with that search and point you in the right direction and start finding those resources. So I know, again, personally, I submitted it. And when I got my financial aid package, I reached out to my advisor. I was like, hey, is there any like external scholarships I can apply for? And there's some for like the state of Massachusetts, because that's where I live, that they're able to send me to. So they're great resources to kind of reach out to.
Awesome, thank you. Next, the question is study abroad, internships, co-ops, any information on any of how that works. If we all just want to go around, and I can kick us off by talking about clinical. So like, as I briefly mentioned, you started freshman year, spring semester, but first I went to like a nursing home, just getting comfortable, like waking up a patient, walking in the patient's room, vitals, just like your basic like PCA, CNA skills, I would say. I definitely recommend over the summer getting your like CNA or LNA if you're looking to go into nursing. And then beyond that, right now I'm at Spalding Rehab Center, Hospital, excuse me, which is in Charleston, right outside of Boston. And the view is beautiful right on the Charles River. All the nurses are super great. It's me and a few other students with our instructor. So right now we're just practicing IVs and catheters. So it's really getting real. And I just love that right now this will be my 4th clinical rotation. And then some schools, like I mentioned, their first clinical rotations like right now, which is kind of crazy to think about. But Anthony, do you want to talk about internships or study abroad?
Yeah, so I know our School of Education and Social Policy has practicums that all students are able to take a part in and do experiential learning. And then our Girard School of Business also has an internship opportunity that all students are required to take. So they'll be able to get hands-on experience within their specific field in business. And specifically for our accounting program, then we have a co-op, and the accounting co-op would take place usually your junior year. And it'll be over the spring during busy season, so between January and April. And students will most likely get around $15,000 for those 4 months. Firms pay between $27 to $37, so it's a range, and we have really great faculty that helps us to be able to set that up accordingly and also be able to graduate on time.
Alyssa, would you like to talk about internships?
For sure. So I'll hit on the internships first. So for civil engineering, just engineering in general is where I know a little bit more. They do host tons of career fairs for us, as you've kind of heard a little bit about so far. Some things are run through the O'Brien Center for Career Development, which is a fantastic resource that we have on campus to help you find internships and jobs. But something else they do for the engineers specifically is we actually do have our own school for engineering, and they actually will do constant like tabling multiple times a month with different companies. MassDOT is a big one for us, especially for civil engineers, that they love coming and doing tabling events for us. And honestly, the best thing is when they come, they do want to hire us for summer internships. And even there's some winter internship opportunities as well. So they've been doing a really good job with that. My thing is always, you never really have to worry about trying to find an internship, because somehow you'll make the connections at Merrimack to be able to find one and kind of get your foot in the door somewhere at least. I know a lot of my professors have also done tons of like helping for me to be able to just put good words in at companies that they've worked at previously before coming to Merrimack to teach. And so they've been able to kind of help me get my foot in the door to get internships as well.
Thank you. Matt, do you want to talk about internships and your experiences?
Of course I do. I really love Alyssa's point of professors giving internships or like knowing inside companies as well. First, School of Arts and Sciences is what I'm part of. I'm a biochemistry major. So like Julius was saying earlier, there's a career fair, which is a really cool place to go look at internships, especially for the summer. A lot of them are paid and through Mass Life Sciences as well. But there's also other companies from around the New England area. So if you're not directly from Massachusetts, you don't have to worry. There's definitely companies that come out still looking for Merrimack students, which is really cool. I know like Charles River Labs, which is a big one, and also Pfizer. Again, many locations within the New England area, so they can find something close to home for you. But also professors have just many internship opportunities and also co-op opportunities that they can find through like real work that they've done before they came to Merrimack. So, for example, my internship actually was with a company called Metro Biotech. And the reason I got that is my professor, it was somebody he worked with during his grad school years. So I was able to do research in a lab with a full chemist who has a PhD and everything, doing his own research. I worked under him, which is really cool, getting that hands-on experience with like actual research. They were sending to do human trials, which is really cool. Is what it's in now. I just got an update on my compound that I made. But those internships are really crucial. But I also have a friend who did a co-op at the museum of, not the museum, the aquarium in downtown Boston. She loved scuba diving, so she was actually one of the scuba tank divers, and that's what she kind of did for credits. So like you can do co-ops for, like, my internship was of course during the summer, it was a paid position, but she did it during the year because she didn't have classes on Tuesdays, Thursdays. She worked her schedule around it, got credits to do co-op, and she got to do things she wanted to do. So she did marine biology co-op through the aquarium, got to be in the tanks, do feedings, and track whales too, which is one of her little things. So there's lots of little hidden opportunities. Your professors are there to give you those opportunities, but also those internship fairs and co-op careers are kind of crucial to go to.
Yes, I actually saw that on her LinkedIn. It looked really cool. I'm super jealous. Maybe I picked the wrong profession. I know you guys kind of touched on talking about like professors and connections, but can you give kind of like an example of like how professors help you? Maybe not necessarily like finding an internship, but kind of just in general, like an experience you've had, and talking more about like our class sizes and just how your like day-to-day like academic wise works. Anthony, do you want to kick us off, or Julius? Anyone?
I can start out with that. Yeah. So I personally, I really enjoy it. Here at we have a 14-to-1 student faculty ratio, which is about 22 to 24 students per class. For something I really enjoy, because professors actually, they know who you are. In comparison with other schools, there's classes with like 100 students, so professors, they don't really know who you are, or you have to like contact them directly. Here we do the, like, professors do the effort to get to know you. Let's get to know your name, where you're from, those like simple things. They do care about you a lot. Personally for me, I'm taking basic statistics this semester. I'm not like a math major or anything like that. I'm a health science major, so I'm struggling in that class. My professor, she's been there. She's like, hey, if you need help, come to me, come to these office hours, I'm there for you. So that's something I really enjoy, and they're always there for you. They want to make you pass their class. They're not there to fail you, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you, Julius. Anthony, do you want to answer this as well?
Yeah. So I have an example of last semester. I was taking accounting for business, for one of the core requirements that you have to take as a business student. And since I am an accounting major, my professor at the time made the connection with the professor that takes charge of the co-op program, and I was able to meet with him and be able to talk about what my plans are as to when I would like to do the co-op and what it's like to work in the field, as well as what are the things that I can do in the meantime, being a freshman at the time, like being able to meet with the firms, which we had a meet the firms event, and that was really insightful because I got to meet a majority of the firms and be able to meet with them afterwards and let him know which firm resonated with me the most, and start to take notes on how I would like what I would like to do in a firm in the future. Also, that same professor that connected me with the director of the co-op program also gave me resources that I can use over the summer, because I was concerned that I might, get a little bit confused um with the accounting information that I just learned. So she gave me the resources that I could use over the summer to be able to keep practicing.
Awesome, Melissa.
Yeah, so I definitely love all of the professors that I've had here at Merrimack. We mentioned like the class size, it's usually like on average like a 23, 24 students. But what I've especially noticed with my major specifically, so all of our engineering, if anyone here is interested in engineering, our class sizes, once you get specific into your actual major, so everyone kind of starts out with their more general engineering classes. They start out together, but since you do end up breaking off at some point to get a little more major specific, the class sizes actually dwindle down a little bit more, which is pretty much perfect. We'll be doing like super hard labs, but your professor still has more than enough time to be able to help you in class and in office hours. I know one of my professors in particular, he's constantly in his office, and he always says, like, if you have any questions, to always just go straight to his office, or he's super available by email. I know I've definitely sent him some emails, probably a little bit too late at night, and he still gets back to me right away, which is phenomenal. Like, we have some fantastic professors that are super on top of it and just want to see us succeed. I've had another professor who I was having a really hard time finding my first internship at first, just because it was a little bit difficult sometimes to really get your foot in the door, and I was not really utilizing my resources that well. And once I asked him for help, he actually got me a really good connection to kind of then help me get that foot in the door, which has been like fantastic. But overall, all of my professors, I've established really good relationships with them just because of the class sizes, and they've helped me so like tremendously throughout my time here so far.
Glad to hear that. And Matt, do you want to finish this off?
Yeah, I've never had a professor, which is really funny, just point at me and go, "Hey, you." Every professor knows me by name, and it's really like, it's a small thing, but it's just nice to be in class and have look around and be only like 25, 30 kids at most. And then they're like, "Yeah, hey, Matt, do you have anything to add to this conversation?" It's just really nice to have that like full-on professor to make jokes and stuff like that, be closer, and then just like, "Oh, that's my professor. I'm a student." They work with you to go through problems. They're solving them with you, going through the thought process with you. But also, they understand that you're can be very involved on campus. So like my professor had office hours that just happened to be when I was working other jobs on campus. And I had a few questions in class and the lecturer went over and I was reached out and I went, "Hey, I saw your office hours are at this time. Is there any chance you can meet outside of them?" And they're always very flexible and willing to do that, again, because we're so like such a close community, especially within the professors. They're there to boost in the extra support as well. But it's also just really nice if they have opportunities with the smaller class sizes that you can get those opportunities first. So that's again how I found my internship I talked about earlier. But I know within especially the science department, but I know other departments do it as well. If professors are doing research, they're always looking for grad students as well as undergrad students to participate. So like getting to bond with that professor and know them throughout your classrooms when you get to junior or senior year, and it's like, wow, I really want to do research, just get that experience in before I go into industry or before I get a job anywhere. You can start asking them, "Hey, what research did you do? What job did you have before you became a professor?" And they're always willing to take the extra, again, 10, 15 minutes, no matter what, even if it's lunch. I had lunch with my professor and we talked about it, their research opportunities, what they're doing. I know again, one of my professors, me and him went down to Sparky's, got some ice cream and sat in there and ate ice cream talking about research opportunities. So I'm glad I got to do research with them after eating ice cream that day. But it's just really fun to have that close bond.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Kind of like how you're saying, like, what did your professors do before they became professors? Same thing with my nursing professors, like, what hospital did you work at? Make those connections. And I'm looking to work at Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center over the summer, which is in New Hampshire. And one of my old professors, he was a med flight nurse there. So like he like already gave me some contact information, kind of get that one foot in the door. So I'm super grateful for that. And one experience that I had with a professor was my anatomy 2 professor. Her name's Dr. Salucci. And so I took that sophomore year spring semester. No, sorry, freshman year spring semester. And sophomore year last year, I was her TA for that class. And I'm looking forward to doing that again this coming spring semester. So it was super nice. Like we had a good connection. And then she's like, "I would love for you to be my TA. I see how like passionate you are with like anatomy and everything, and like I'm such a nerd when it comes to that." And it really helped my public speaking skills because it's also different like talking with like your peers, but like talking to like underclassmen and like getting their attention, having them focus, which I'm super glad she gave me that opportunity, and I'm very grateful to do that again. Enough about professors and how much we love them. Alyssa, do you want to answer your roommate experience? How did you find your roommate? Did you know them before coming here? And any advice that you would give future warriors?
Yeah, so my experience was a little bit different with finding a roommate just because I am on the lacrosse team. So though we weren't required necessarily to room with each other, my year in particular, did decide to room with each other. So we kind of just talked to each other, see who kind of meshed best, and kind of went from there. I had a really good experience my freshman year. We were in one of the suites in Ash, which I personally loved. Everything was pretty good. As for advice that I would give, so there's a few different ways you can find roommates for your freshman year. Of course, if you know anyone, you will be able to room with them if you decide that you want to. But there's a few other options if you don't know anyone going to Merrimack, or you want to kind of maybe switch it up for maybe your hometown friends that might be coming here. So we do have a questionnaire that you can fill out, and it's going to ask you a bunch of just lifestyle questions. For example, it might be, are you more of a night owl, or are you more of an early person? And you just kind of will go out and fill all those questions. And my advice with that is just be super honest on them, because the more you lie on it, the less likely you are to really match with your roommate really well. So definitely be truthful on that. And I've seen most of my friends that have done that, it ends up working out very well for them. Or they ended up just making new friends, and they were all able to kind of combine rooms further on down the line, so for the most part, it's been pretty well. Other ways you can always find roommates too. We do have our Facebook group, which you can always join. And if you find anyone on there that you feel like you mesh with, then at this questionnaire, you will be able to put their name at the bottom. And as long as they also select you, then you guys are able to room together as well, which is super nice.
And then Julius, would you like to share your experience? I know you kind of came in into the spring semester, but do you want to kind of explain that transition, especially coming in mid-year as well?
Yeah, of course. So I came as an international student too, so it's a little bit, it's a big transition. It was a big transition for me, but they were really helpful. I'm also an athlete, right? So I kind of have the same process as Alyssa did. So my coach, they assigned us, or he told us who to room with for those that were coming in spring as well. So I kind of had that. At the end, that didn't really happen just because it was three of us and we were in doubles. So I ended up having a random roommate actually. So I did the questionnaire. I answered the questions. I was as honest as I could because I knew that if I lied, like Alyssa said, I mean, it's gonna be worse for me, right? So I was being as honest as I could. And then I got an awesome roommate. I actually didn't know him before that. So when I got assigned with him, their email is there. So I just shoot an email. I was like, hey, this is me, blah, blah, blah. Like, how you doing? It'll be nice to connect before we actually meet in person. So I did that. We met through socials, right? We talked a little bit. And it was honestly a great experience. We still hang out of like, I'm not roommates with him anymore this semester because I'm commuting, right? So, but we still hang out out of like classes or anything like that. We go to eat together and stuff like that. So it's pretty nice, yeah.
Nice. Just to be clear, when you say commuting, you just mean like you live in Royal. Obviously, you're not overseas. Anyway, with my roommate experience, I also had a random freshman year, did the questionnaire and everything, worked out. We were good roommates with one another. And then across the hall from me is one of my best friends to this day, Bella. And we ended up living together last year and this year with a few other girls, and now like we're all best friends. We always do a like roommate reunion over the summer. They live on the Cape for the 4th of July. But definitely the Res Life office here at Merrimack is a great resource. Matt, for example, is an RA. So do you want to I know you're not having a roommate, but do you want to kind of just touch on like what an RA kind of is, what you do for events, and what kind of goes with that?
Of course. So I commuted my first 2 years and came in as a RA. And usually RAs don't have roommates. It's possible if you want to have a roommate as an RA, you still can, but that was not for me. I lived actually in Monacan both my years, so I am in a freshman year building, so I do work with first year students. But what we do as RAs, a lot of it, what we do is just programming. We try to keep everybody entertained. So like on the weekends, during the week as well, we have at least one program where we can RA will host. It's smaller things. So like I know I've done grow your goals. So beginning of the year, you put whatever goal you have transitioning into college on your plot. You get a little plant as well, and you just kind of watch that plant go throughout the years and see again how you take care of it. It grows kind of like your goals, which is a fun little program. We also did keychains with Mary one time. So Mary is our support animal on campus. She's with MCPD. So her handler, Officer Chuck, came up with Mary, and they were both just hanging out. We made keychains. We made MCPD few keychains for a few of the vehicles they have downstairs, which is fun to see them on the keychain still this year when that program happened last year. But we try to make it a community within the res halls. We don't like to call them dorms just because it's not just a place that you sleep at night. It's kind of an interactive place. I know our building has a nice lobby area with a pool table, ping pong table upstairs in the second floor lobby with some like study rooms. I used them when I was a commuter actually with my friends who lived in this building. but we got just a little area to put something on the TV, watch a movie with friends if you want to in the common area, put your homework on the TV and work together. But another thing we do is kind of just a built-in friend. So if you're looking for like resources on campus and clubs like stuff like that, your RA again is probably involved. You can go knock on their door, be like, "Hey, how did you get involved? What's a good thing to go to? Maybe I'm having trouble transitioning. What resources do I have on campus?" They're always going to point you at least in the right direction to start, even if they can't solve the problem. But usually they're that go-to person. So programming, just that safe space, and they can always connect you to somebody else if you ever need help anywhere else.
Thank you, Matt, for touching on that. And something I also really like, I know Alyssa emphasized about the suites in Ash and Monica for freshmen. And then if you decide to live on campus beyond your freshman year, you will always have like a common room in your room. So like I live in South Residential Village right now. So you walk in, there's like a big living room, bathroom, vanity, bedroom, and then upstairs is 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. So that's 6 people in 2 bathrooms in a big common room. So it definitely, like you said, it's not just a place you sleep. Like that's where I eat, that's where I sleep, that's where I hang out with my friends, that's where we watch movies. So it's definitely nice to be able to go back to a place where you just had a busy day of classes and everything. Like you just want to like relax and you have the ability to do so as if you were home. I always told myself I would never like call my room home, and now I swear I call that home more than my actual home. But kind of to veer off more of res life stuff, more back to academics. Anthony, do you want to share what you would say, what would set this business school apart from other business schools?
Yeah. So I would say for sure the people as well as the resources available. The staff that so the Yard School of Business has the Lucy Center, which is for advising. So each school has their own advising for the business school. It's the Lucy Center, and they have amazing staff that'll help you for registering for classes as well as career and academic advice. The staff is super lovely. They answer all your questions and as well as connect you with the right resources, even if it may not be within the business school. So that's an amazing thing about it, as well as the different resources. So the Lucy Center can provide those resources, but we have our Mucci Capitals Lab. So every business student will be Bloomberg certified by the end of their 4 years here, which is a really cool thing that not every school has. You have the possibility of taking the managerial finance course, and that's the course that will get you certified. And we also have our entrepreneurship lab. So there's a 3D printer there. Entrepreneurship is a newer major that we have on camp on the General School of Business now. So that's another space that's available for creative thinking as well as being able to explore more and see another side of business. And in um, Crow Hall, which is where the Yard School of Business is located, there's our computer labs, which you have available to use while there's not classes going on. So if you need to work on Excel, which is something that's inevitable that you'll have to use while being a student there at the business school, you have the resources available. And then obviously, aside from the business school itself, there's the campus resources like in our McQuaid library that you have available for like tutoring and all our for tutoring is student, it's peer led. So students that have taken the course are the ones that are tutored, and your professors make you aware of who the student is. That way you have the resources available and be able to get the extra help you need.
Thank you, Anthony. Now we have a couple questions in our Q&A. So, Alyssa, do you want to answer this one? How easy is it to get tickets to a sporting event, and what is the most popular sport?
Yeah, so it's super easy to get tickets. So majority of our events, like a lot of like my games and a lot of like other games, you actually are able to just kind of show up and it works out very well. For more popular events, so hockey is definitely a big sport for us. We're definitely a big hockey school. You will have to get tickets ahead of time. However, all you have to do is just go to the MAC, which is the Merrimack Athletic Complex. You just walk in, you can grab your ticket. You can go with a group of friends to make sure you guys all get tickets together. But they'll give out tickets for a lot of those games. Football games usually get pretty packed too, especially our homecoming game always has like record numbers, which is phenomenal. And then I would say our basketball games are also usually pretty popular, especially men's basketball.
Thank you. And then our other Q&A question is, I was curious about what things are to do in the area and also job opportunities in the area. So maybe we can all go around, like say, maybe like our favorite thing to do around, not on campus, but surrounding campus, and any job opportunities of you or any of your friends that are off campus as well. Julius, do you want to kick us off with that one?
Yeah, of course. There's definitely many places, shops, malls you can go around campus. We do have a shuttle system at Merrimack, so you can always look up the schedule on the website, as well as in any stops. So there's a QR code that you can scan, that takes you to different shops, different malls around campus. And then if you want to go more to like a bigger or to a city, to downtown Boston, the shuttle can also take you to downtown Boston or to the train station that goes to downtown Boston. So definitely a lot of things that you can do like around campus. About jobs off campus, for me, I couldn't really tell you. I'm an international student, so I'm actually not allowed to work off campus. But if you want to work on campus, there's definitely a lot of different jobs that you can do around campus. So here at Merrimack, literally all the front desk or like there's a lot of opportunities that we have on campus for students who are working on campus. So there's like front desk jobs. You can work as a tutor. You can work in admissions as an ambassador like us. And there's also like you can work with athletics. So there's definitely a lot of different options that you could partake in.
Thank you, Anthony.
Yeah. So personally, I work as CVS pharmacist, a pharmacy technician. There's a CVS nearby, but I work one in my own town in Methuen. So that's a job that I personally have and do manage time between school and work to be able to do that. But personally, I like to eat a lot. So there is a lot of food options around campus that you're able to go to that are in a walking distance. There's a Panera Bread, a Burger King, and then like Julius was mentioning, the shuttle system can take you to downtown Andover and North Andover, which there's many food spots there. And in Methuen, there is this shopping strip called the Loop, and there's many different stores as well as food options that students can go to. Looking at the schedule, and in Salem, New Hampshire, there's this new place is called Tuscan Village, and that's a very nice area that has food options as well as shopping that is really, really nice. And that's another way that students are able to leave campus and because of the shuttles provide the transportation needed at no additional cost.
Matt?
Yeah, so I know shuttle is a great option, but we also have an app called Cork, which tells you all the on-campus involvements, but also tells you sometimes off-campus involvements. So we have the Office of Student Involvement, or OSI. They do a lot of off-campus events as well. So I know actually this week they're doing $5 movie tickets. So if you go by, it's first come first serve, you get a movie ticket for just $5, which is a nice discount. It's in the loop right where Anthony was talking about, so the shuttles bring you there. You can kind of see when the shuttles are running, be like, oh, it's a great time to catch a movie. But they also do trips into Boston occasionally. So if you don't want to take the train in, sometimes they'll take the shuttle right into Boston and do like a group trip. So I know our Austin Scholars program, which is one of our cohorts here, they do trips to the Red Sox game a lot. But I know I went to actually see my friend Sedona, who did that co-op in the aquarium I was talking about earlier. We did a Faneuil Hall trip, and instead of like hanging out in Faneuil Hall, I was like, oh, the aquarium's right there. I can go stop by. And then it was fun just to kind of do things in Boston on your own. The shuttle takes you in, and Merrimack sponsors it, so you don't really have to find your own transportation or anything like that. I know certain clubs will do it as well. So I'm part of the Green Team Club. We did a trip to Smollett Farms and another farm that was about an hour away. They talk about sustainable farming and things like that. So we got to learn more about the environment through a club and got to go off campus for an involvement. But a big one I'm surprised nobody mentioned is Richardson's. Good ice cream. There's animals there, mini golf, driving range, batting cages. There's nothing wrong. Nobody can go wrong with the Richardson's trip.
And then Alyssa?
Yeah, so I feel like everyone kind of hit a lot of the big stuff, but I'll kind of name some of my favorite things in particular. We do live in a super safe neighborhood, so I love going on runs all around North Andover and Andover, like beautiful little towns to run around. So it's kind of nice just like get some exercise, get outside when it's nice out. But a lot of things, I'll run to like downtown Andover a lot, and there's tons of stuff down there, just like other ice cream, which I love a good sweet treats, tons of ice cream down there too. Then right next to the engineering buildings, there is actually a few places that I probably go to a little bit too often. Whenever I'm just kind of not in the mood for maybe what we have on campus, I'll run over to Starbucks and grab a coffee in between class. Starbucks probably gets a little bit too much of my money. And then we also have acai bowls at Sobel right next door as well. Just a little bit more of a convenient option for us if we do have like kind of a day's worth of classes over there in that building, since it's a little bit more separated from the rest of campus, so I can't go on campus to get my acai bowls. So I'll jump over there sometimes. So they have some good options as well. I do love going into Boston sometimes, so I always take that commuter rail in, which is always super fun. And then even for just like other jobs just around campus, so we do have tons of on-campus opportunities, but if you're looking to do something a little bit different, I have a few friends and a few teammates in the past that they like to do like workout instruction. So one of my friends right now does Pilates right down the road. She actually used to walk to work before she had a car on campus, which is super convenient for her since it is super close by. I had another friend that she taught spin a lot. But then I do have tons of friends that have different like internship and co-op opportunities, all within like a 15-minute, 10-15-minute drive of campus too, which is super nice.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Kind of actually emphasize that. And someone just asked another question about internships, which I know we answered earlier. But one of my roommates, she's doing her internship right now at F45, which is also a workout place like 10 minutes away. And so that's a great like there's internship opportunities, not like are very close to campus, which is nice, like 10-minute drive to your internship, like that's perfect. Some of my favorites is I feel like all of a sudden we're getting like all the best like fast food places. So we just got Press Cafe, which if you've never heard of that, it's like super good, like paninis, iced lattes, breakfast sandwiches, kind of like everything. Like it's like a glorified Panera. We're about to get Kava super close. So I've never had Kava, super excited for that. And kind of how Alyssa was saying, running to like downtown Andover. I don't run, but I take a nice walk. And there's a bunch of coffee shops. Super like she said, like cutesy little like run to like little Gilmore Girls situation. Super great place to do homework, just get off campus. Me and my friends, we've gone to the Andover Farmers Market a few times, just walking around different vendors, kind of, even though we're on campus a good chunk of the time, there is opportunities around North Andover to get involved in their community. So that's just super nice that it's not like just a solidified campus, but you get off campus plenty if you'd like that to be a part of your experience. Julius, this is a question for you from the Q&A. So I don't know if you know this information. If not, someone from admission can, but it's talking about how does the college assist international students with health insurance, visa requirements, and other logistic matters?
Right. So as an international student, you have your admission like advisor for admissions. Her name is Rachel Tampon, as well as her assistant. So usually would be talking with her. She helped me with the process for all the visas to get my visa. Costa Rica, it's really tricky because they require a numerous amount of documents to get your visa. But basically, with applying, you just go. They give you, well, Merrimack gives you the documents that you need to go to the office to apply for that visa, and then you just give them all that documents that you need, and then you should be fine. And then when you get into Merrimack, basically you get to meet with Rachel, and she just gives you like a little introduction of like what is expected for you as an international student, what you can and you cannot do. So she told me that I can't work off campus. If I wanted to, I have to I have to fill out some documents and stuff like that. She also told me some stuff like about updating my residence if I change my residence, all that. So like there's resources, you can meet with them, you can ask them questions. So they're there for you. I don't know if there's anything else you want me to add to that question.
That's perfect. A lot of information I did not know as well. Another Q&A question. I love how everyone's using it. Someone said, thank you. I have to go to volleyball. Well, Julius will join you there at practice. Another question is, what is one adjective you would use to describe the typical Merrimack students? Matt?
I'm definitely going to say involved. There's a lot of clubs on campus, 70 plus now, and it's so easy to start a club up too. All you need is a little e-board people run the club and a professor as well. So like a lot of people like to get involved in clubs just to fill in an hour or two if you have a gap in your schedule and you want to do something with that. But there's a lot of on-campus job opportunities like we were talking about. I work in the Res Life office, so I'm doing that in my spare time. I'm e-board for other missions. I'm an RA in campus. So there's just a plethora of things to sign up and do on campus to stay involved, build your resume too. A lot of networking. So again, all these on-campus jobs have a lot of people that might have worked somewhere else before coming to Merrimack. So it's really nice to get that networking in. But yeah, typical Merrimack students very involved.
Does someone else just want to give one adjective they would to describe a Merrimack student?
I can, even though my original thought was also going to be involved, so Matt stole that from me. But I'd also maybe just say also just passionate. I have definitely a few different friends, and I've known a lot of people, and I've kind of seen the accomplishments of a lot of people on a lot of our social medias that I kind of have encountered throughout my years here. And though they're all very involved, there's a lot of people that have very like passion project based maybe clubs that they started, or they actually are kind of working towards like actual goals, which I think having something tangible that you're always working at is something that's super beneficial to employers, especially. And it really just helps out the college and the people around you too. One of my friends, or a few of my friends, are actually working on making some sort of like prosthetic hand. I don't know the details of it, but some sort of prosthetic hand to help them with like different sports and stuff. So they've talked to me a lot about the logistics of being able to play lacrosse with it. I know they've reached out to other people they know on different teams to kind of see how they can kind of implement it in like many different sports to make it useful for not just one purpose, but for a lot. And that's something that they've been working on for the past, I want to say 2 years maybe. And they're not the only people I know like that. We have a whole club on campus called Let's Innovate that's specifically for just creating projects, like whatever you're thinking of, like you kind of just get after it. And a lot of them are just to help, whether it's specific people or the general public. They're all very mission focused in a sense. So I would say very passionate as well.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Another Q&A question. I can answer this. I'm not on a club sport if someone else wants to like emphasize on what I'm saying. But the question is, can someone speak to how students get involved in club sports and are there tryouts? So we have an involvement fair, which is the beginning of each semester. And at the involvement fair, besides actual clubs, we have the club sports as well. So we have 21 plus club sports from like basketball, soccer, baseball, softball, mostly what our like D1 sports are, but like also for club. So yes, there are tryouts. I think kind of depending on what sport specifically, how intense they are. So I know like one of my friends, she's on the e-board for club soccer for the women's team, and they had like tryouts and everything, and then used to like travel to other schools and everything like that, like a D1 sport, just not as far, obviously, have practice a couple days a week. So yeah, there is tryouts, but I do believe for the most part everyone makes the team. But sometimes it depends on how many population of how many people want to try out, and obviously not everyone can if there's like 50 kids. But definitely way more chill than the D1 sports. But does anyone else want to emphasize on club sports?
Yeah, I can too. I know a few people that have been on different club sports teams, and they're definitely a lot less of a commitment than the D1 sports, which I think is like the main draw of them. But the best part is they can still be pretty competitive. I know some people that they've never even tried out certain sports and they'll join the club teams. But then I know other people that there are tryouts and the teams actually are very competitive and actually do really well. So you kind of get a very big range of that. They are more self-sufficient than our D1 teams, for instance. So it is a little bit more of a pay-to-play experience. However, it's not like it's going to be costing you an arm and a leg. So it's definitely super fun. Everyone that I've known that's ever done the club sports absolutely loves it, and they're all very passionate about it. So I've never heard a bad thing about it. I don't personally play any, but I've always heard great things about our club sports.
Yeah, that'd be a lot if you're on an actual team and the club sport. So thank you everyone for answering all the questions, sending in questions. Just to wrap it up, I'm just gonna ask everyone, what is one piece of advice you would give yourself if you were going back to like junior, senior year, trying to figure out what college you would go to? I know it's a hectic time, but just share a little piece of what you wish you could tell yourself.
I can start. Um, so the main reason, honestly, I came into Merrimack was first athletics, right? So as an international student or a student in Costa Rica, I was playing volleyball. I've been playing it for 5+ years, and I knew I wanted to pursue my career. I wanted to play internationally. I knew Costa Rica wasn't the place for it. So I knew I wanted to leave Costa Rica, play internationally. So I started a little bit late. So I actually started like looking at colleges and all that my senior year. The piece of advice I would give myself would be like start early, just because as an international student and just to get into a D1, it's pretty competitive. It's hard. It requires a lot of time as well as documents you have to complete. So that'll be probably my biggest like advice. Just start early, and then like don't for me, like if I'm talking to like coaches, right? I'm emailing coaches, like don't be afraid to like email them like 5 times. Like that would be it for me, yeah.
Awesome. Anthony?
Yeah, so I would say to definitely take your time and don't stress over it. It's very easy to say not to stress over, but it's a hard decision as to where you want to go to college, what you want to study. You don't have to have everything figured out. You are very young. You're a junior, senior in high school. You have the time, and the college provides you the resources available to be able to figure that out. At least Merrimack does. Um, and another advice would be to always have open communication and start practicing that skill now in high school, but especially once you get to college, because having open communication will help you not stress and be like a better person in general. Because in a roommate situation, like if you have to communicate something, having that open communication with them will be good, as well as communicating anything with your professor. Even if you might be late or you can't make it to class, communicate that, because at the end of the day, they will appreciate that and will consider that when they need to. So definitely having open communication and taking your time, and it is okay to not have everything figured out.
I wish I could have told myself that 3 years ago. Matt?
I'm gonna say don't be afraid to put yourself out there and try anything new. When I was looking at colleges, a lot of programs looked very similar on paper. A lot of colleges like saying the same thing during tours and stuff like that. But what really helped me is finding what looked like home to me. I was able to come here because it felt like home, and ever since I came a lot out of my shell. Used to be an introvert, not anymore, as you can tell. I like the app. Um, but just being able to get involved, being able to put myself fully into what I'm doing, my academics, my involvements, because I feel so comfortable here has really been what's driven me and what's led to my success, I feel like. So when you're looking and you're like, if both these colleges look the same to me, visit campus, see what feels like home, talk to the people around, be like, why did you choose it? They'll always talk to you and let you know. It's just great to feel comfortable where you're going.
And Alyssa?
Yeah, so I think one of my biggest things is kind of just like really breaking down what you think you want in a school and really going out and looking for it. Whenever I was looking for schools, I originally thought I wanted to be at like a huge university in the middle of a big city, which I still love the idea of. But what I almost love about Merrimack is that I'm still able to get to like the middle of Boston. I can still have that like big city feel if I want it. But with the smaller class size, like the smaller college and the smaller class size, it's so much easier for me to connect with professors and even just make friends in all my classes, which is what I attribute being able to make these connections and network. It's been done very easily because of the smaller size, and it's why I'm going to be having a job when I get out of college, is because I've been able to make these connections. So almost I had to kind of take a step back for myself almost whenever I was looking for colleges and saying, yeah, I love that idea, but I know for myself being able to be in those smaller situations to be able to better connect with people is going to help me so much more in the long run, and it definitely paid off.
I was in the same situation. I thought I wanted a big like university, and then I came on campus, and I'm like, so like Matt said, go on those tours, like go and experience, ask people, like you have this idea of your head of like what you think what college you want to go to or where whatever it is, and then when you get on campus, I know people always say like you get that feeling, but I feel like you genuinely do. So yeah, good luck to everyone and become a future warrior. So I just want to thank all my panelists, Matt, Alyssa, Julius, and Anthony, for sharing all your experiences about Merrimack. And if you have any lingering questions, your admission counselors is still your main Merrimack contact. They're your go-to person all the way up until you basically start classes here. So definitely reach out to them if you have any questions. And also there's plenty of information via our website or reaching out to our admission email. And I'm just going to share a screen with those contacts. We have our Merrimack Instagram and TikTok. They've been pretty active on TikTok, so that's been fun. Register for one of our open houses, like I mentioned. Once again, those dates are October 20th, November 3rd, and December 7th. And any deadlines for actually applying to Merrimack. And our first deadline is November 15th for applications. So thank you again for attending this event, and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of your night.